What's the most powerful institution in New Jersey politics? Teachers' unions? Pharmaceutical companies? No, it's a line of text. The county line is a system that allows candidates who appear on a ballot with the same slogan to appear all in one column together, suggesting that the party is endorsing those candidates. This is one of the major means by which party insiders keep their preferred candidates from getting primaried. Primaries, despite receiving state funding, are considered private contests within the private organization that is the county party. The rules that govern who can get on a ballot, what they have to do to get on the ballot, how they get on the ballot, what parts of the ballot they appear on, it's all so convoluted intentionally to make it so that the only people who know how to understand this system are the party bosses. If candidates and their organizations don't know those rules, they'll most likely not end up on the ballot. If they do manage to get on the ballot, they'll most likely be relegated to what's called Ballot Siberia. Primary ballots only have the candidates from one party. That's the point. They're meant to be the way that each party determines who their nominee will be to go up against the opposing party's candidate in the November general election. When the county party chairs don't manage to keep someone off the ballot, which is rare, but can happen if the candidate does the legwork to figure out all these rules and regulations, they'll typically manage to put that non-preferred candidate far away, all the way over on an empty part of the ballot. That's because New Jersey primary and general election ballots are arranged by slogan. The history of this practice dates back to the 1920s. The county line system was not a product of legislation, but rather a product of the discretion of county clerks, who make the ballots, and judicial intervention. Over time, this system has been institutionalized, giving an unfair advantage to party-backed candidates. The system evolved as a response to the progressive reforms of the early 20th century that sought to democratize the nomination process by replacing party conventions with direct primary elections. The county line system was a way for party bosses to maintain control over that nomination process in the face of those reforms. In the 1920s and 30s, county clerks began to group candidates endorsed by the county committee in a single column on the ballot. This practice was challenged in court, but the New Jersey Supreme Court upheld it in the 1935 case Kilmurray v. Guilford. The court ruled that county clerks had broad discretion in arranging the ballot. New Jersey has a long history of corrupt primary election practices. That's why in 1930, the state passed a ban on parties endorsing candidates before the primary. The law was designed to make it harder for the county political machines to push through their preferred candidates. During the time that the law was in effect, a New Jersey judge, upholding it, wrote,
"The major reason for changing to the primary election is to prevent political manipulation by certain select members of the party."
But the law was weakened and then eventually struck down entirely as the results of state and federal lawsuits brought by parties fighting laws like that. The law no longer exists, and certain select members of the party are free to politically manipulate. In 1965, the New Jersey legislature passed the Bracketing and Ballot Placement Law, which codified the practice of bracketing, or grouping together, candidates who run on the same platform or slogan. This law further entrenched the county line system by allowing county committees to control who gets the coveted first column on the ballot. In the 1973 case Lesniak v. Budzash, the New Jersey Supreme Court ruled that the endorsement ban violated the First Amendment rights of political parties. This decision effectively removed the last legal barrier to the county line system. Take a look at this sample ballot for the 2020 Democratic primary for voters in Howell Township, which is in Monmouth County. Can you tell who the county party insiders wanted to win? There. It's all the candidates in this column on the left. This is the part of the ballot that people look at first. How is the county party allowed to decide who gets that column? Because they have exclusive rights to their slogan. That's the line of text under the candidate's name. It seems like it's the candidate's party if you don't know exactly what you're looking at, but it isn't. It's their slogan. The county Republicans use Monmouth County Republican Organization, and the Democrats use Monmouth County Democrats. Yeah, catchy slogans, right? Look at this guy. This is a stock footage politician pretending he is campaigning. Oh, that's almost a Hitler thing, but not quite. Pulled it out perfectly. This guy is a born politician. And you can tell that most candidates didn't get the memo that this is not actually used as a slogan field, Candidates who aren't the party's preferred candidate will often run with something that actually does sound like a slogan, like, "Not me, us," as some candidates for county commissioner did in the 2020 primary. To add insult to injury, Bernie Sanders was also on the ballot, and that was his slogan, "Bernie 2020, not me, us." But because it was written slightly differently from how the county candidates wrote their slogan, they got put in separate columns, and Bernie Sanders was pushed over to an empty third column. In that research paper on this phenomenon, the author writes about another election in which this happened. He says,
Candidate Daniel Park, who ran for city council, appears in a separate column all by himself, while all of the candidates endorsed by the county committee are featured in the first column, one right above the other. The county committee's candidates also all share a common slogan, Democratic Committee of Bergen County. Furthermore, in order to vote for Park, a voter, having likely voted for every candidate on the county line for other offices, as there were no other candidates on the ballot to choose from, would have to vote off the line for the one office for which Park was running. In this manner, the county committee endorsed candidates receive the county line advantage, while off-the-line candidates remain significantly disadvantaged.
The paper provides a comprehensive analysis of the county line system, arguing that it is undemocratic and violates the fundamental right to vote and the right of association. He provides a historical context of the county line system, tracing its roots back to the 1920s. Pugach presents empirical evidence showing that candidates on the county line win their primary elections at significantly higher rates. He also discusses the role of county clerks in determining ballot placement and the lack of uniformity in that process. He writes,
For example, the 2018 Democratic primary election sample ballot for the borough of Merchantville in Camden County demonstrates that 3 candidates ran for United States Congress in a congressional district which included, in part, municipalities in Camden County. Donald W. Norcross, the incumbent congressman, who was endorsed by the party and is the brother of South Jersey political boss George E. Norcross III.
And I should mention, for those not familiar with New Jersey politics, and even some who are familiar with it, you might not know George Norcross, he's one of the big power brokers in South Jersey. He's never had elected office, but long story short, he's really well connected, and people are afraid to cross him. He's in good with the people who can, keep watching.
And then, Scott John Tomaszewski and Robert Lee Carlson, 2 candidates who were not endorsed by the party and not running with a slate of other candidates. However, the existence of 6 alleged pairs of phantom candidates running for county freeholder resulted in a situation where Norcross was featured in column 2, while Tomaszewski and Carlson's names were both featured in Ballot Siberia, all the way in column 9 of the ballot, stacked one on top of the other and far away from other candidates on the ballot, all notwithstanding the fact that they were running for nomination to the exact same office.
The author then presents a constitutional challenge to the county line system, arguing that it violates the First and 14th Amendments. He argues that the county line system places a significant burden on voting rights and the right of association. He discusses the issue of standing to bring suit and suggests that litigators should include a combination of organizations, candidates, and voters as plaintiffs. One potential change he proposes is a form of ballot called the bubble ballot. This ballot is organized by office sought and lists all candidates for a particular office in the order in which their names are drawn from a single random drawing. This would allow candidates on the ballot to have an equal shot at appearing first, eliminating one of the means the parties use to control who has a shot at getting elected to office and who does not. The status quo here in New Jersey is a system that doesn't force candidates to compete, but instead they gerrymander, use ballot design, and procedures for access to public funds and other intentionally difficult to follow and obscure rules to make it so only the candidates who the parties want to succeed will be able to end up winning. So the conventional wisdom is that to get elected to office, you need to spend years getting in good with the people in the party, not the voters at large. This creates a system built only to serve the most powerful people in the state at the expense of everybody else. It's an old-style political machine like Tammany Hall. It's an anti-democratic process. It's why New Jersey's politicians work for a powerful few, not the majority of the people. That's what I got for you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you giving me your time and your attention. If you like this video, click like and subscribe to the channel so you see when I post something new. So, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.